All right, we have mics on. All right, I'll call this meeting to order. It is 5, oh my gosh, I can't even see my phone, 31? 31. This is the Rocky Hill Commission on Inclusion and Innovation. It is January 28th, 2026. We're in council chambers. Take a quick roll call of members present.
Shadowfax.
Commissioner Megan O'Brien McNamara.
And Commissioner Tom Kosker.
William Kittle.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have appointments and resignations. I do have the good news and pleasure of officially appointing, although been officially appointed by our town council at this past meeting, which, let me get the date on that, was last Tuesday, the 20th. So Sarah Hammock, who is running a bit late tonight and due to some obligations, but should be joining us shortly. Sarah Hammock has been appointed as a commissioner. She will fill a role as a, what's the title of it? Alternate commissioner for now, as we do have 7 full commissioners on board. So welcome, Sarah, to our commission.
I believe the last name is Remick.
Remick?
All right. And
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had it written down wrong.
okay.
Remick, thank you. If she were here, she would correct, but we got that. Thank you. Approval, next on the agenda is approval of minutes. So our last meeting was October 29th, 2025. You have had minutes emailed to you, and they are also in front of you. Please check them out and tell me if you have any thoughts or revisions, and I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Any questions, comments, edits, conversation? And hearing none, I will take a vote to accept the minutes. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions? It looks like the 4 of us were here last time, so motion passes 4-0. Thank you for that. Next up, we have our subcommittee reports. So our only active subcommittee right now is our Community Conversations Committee. We'll talk more about other committee activity later in the meeting. But our Community Conversations Committee, so I'll turn over to Commissioner McNamara.
Thank you. So our Community Conversations Committee has been meeting to put together a plan for this year with a little bit more intention. So review our calendar events that we were involved with last year, also discuss additional opportunities, and then, which we'll talk more about shortly under new business, establish some goals for the year. So what are our priorities aligned to the commission commitments that we established in 2025? And some preliminary work to establish some norms for how and when we're meeting, as well as capturing information, so documenting things with the intention of being sustainable so that the commission, regardless of the commissioners on board, is able to carry forward with strong momentum.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions or comments or additions from others that were present at the meetings? All right, hearing none. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate it. I appreciate the group meeting over the winter time. I know it's a tough season and tough time between sort of like, late October and early January is a tough, challenging time to have meetings. So I appreciate you guys getting together. And I think the plan is to have meetings in between our full commission meetings. So it's kind of still holds true, right? We're trying to have a meeting in between our full commission.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right. And we don't have any dates set for those, I don't think, at the moment.
We have not established the
Okay.
dates for that.
Okay.
We can discuss that, I think, with the new business.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Moving right along, old business, we have none. So item number 8 is new business. We have 3 topics on the agenda for tonight. The first of which I will lead the conversation about, which is discussing our 2026 calendar of events, so to speak, and our commissioner involvement in that. So this is sort of a continued conversation, even though I put it as new business because it's 2026. We've had our different levels of involvement and different levels of commitment to different community events here in Rocky Hill that are all promoting inclusion. And so I wanted to just open a discussion with us here as far as what those events would be potentially. We discussed this a little bit in our subcommittee work, and also what our commitment's going to look like in those events. In some cases, that might be helping to facilitate the planning of the event. In some cases, it may be just attending and kind of it's ancillary participation in the event. In the case of our Unity event, it's leading the event and running it fully. So that's kind of where I wanted to go with this tonight, and really encourage you all to chime in. Dana, you as well, please, to chime in and give your thoughts on these different events. So I'll kind of start with just a quick list of the events that we participated in recent years, and we can add to that, subtract from that, et cetera. So I'll start with I won't even go in chronological order, because I'll start with our signature event, which is our Unity event. Thanks, by the way, Dana, for putting up the banner. I assume that was you that put that up. Autumn did it. Thank you, Autumn, for doing it before you left. Thank you. Shout out. We have our nice banner that came from our last year's Unity event that we did. That was a kind of an expanded event last year. So that we need to kind of have a conversation about that as far as timing on it. But I see us continuing that in a similar or expanded role again. So we have our Unity event. We had, last year we participated and assisted on the planning of the Diwali event. There's a group that's going to be meeting, a planning group that's going to be meeting about that, which I am going to be participating in as a member of the commission to kind of help facilitate that. There's the Juneteenth event. And again, that was a Rocky Hill Juneteenth event, and a Rocky Hill Pride event that was held in June last year. We also participated in the Middletown Pride Parade as a group, and I think those are the main ones that we hit last year. And then there's been others up for conversation around a disability awareness, disability pride event, and others. So that's kind of that as a quick snapshot, and then I'm going to kind of open it up. I can open it up broadly, or we can kind of go one by one through the events, or I can open it up for there's other additions or thoughts. So let me just open up to the floor and see if anyone has any thoughts or comments they want to chime in on.
So I have a couple thoughts. So I know we've been approached or been involved in the past with some conversation around, and forgive me if I get the name incorrect, but the 250-year recognition. So we would look to have, I think, some presence in engagement and planning for that. And then also witness stones, which I personally was connected with, and I need to follow up on with Ed Ciccarello in our Historic Society. If there is an event or activity that we can help to make that happen or make more successful, I think we should keep those on our radar.
Thank you for both of those, and yes, the witness stone, because Ed came and gave a presentation to us here. And I remember being connected with someone on the 250 anniversary thing, and I got to circle back and see who that was. And there was I feel like there was going to be a group put together for planning that here in Rocky Hill. Dana, do you have more information about that?
I believe that the Economic Development Department, Alondra Main was one of the primary folks that was going to talk about our involvement with that.
Excellent. Thank you. It's been a minute since we talked about that. I remember circling with her last year at some point. So, cool. Any other ones?
Great idea.
Yeah, we want to think about or add? Mr. Kittle, anything?
Any potential involvement with the Newington Pride event?
Oh, yeah, I know that's something you've brought up. No, it's a great point. I agree.
And it was sizable.
Yeah.
And I think we could maybe have a presence table and so on.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I know we've kind of leaned into that a little bit, especially last year, adding Middletown Pride to our kind of list and our calendar, so to speak, and I know you've brought that up in the past in Newington one, so thank you for bringing it up again. And yeah, I think, how we kind of link together with some of these other towns and kind of cross, collaborate, and come on up, you can just join us. Yeah, sure. We'll just take one of these names down since we don't have a name tag for you yet, so that's okay. There you go, sit right next to Will.
Dana.
So a quick interruption in the meeting, but we'll just get right back to it. I'll just introduce Sarah. And can you say your last name?
Hammock.
Hammock.
Right.
See, I had it right. I had it right. Sarah Hammock. So Sarah Hammock, we just a few minutes before you got here, we, officially appointed you. I know you were officially appointed by Town Council last Tuesday. So thank you for joining us tonight. So welcome to our commission. And these are our other commissioners. Commissioner Will Kittle. Of course, you know me, Tom Kosker. Megan O'Brien McNamara. And Dea Shadowfax is our other commissioner here present
Welcome,
tonight.
Sarah.
So welcome. All right, and again, I know you're just getting here and kind of rushing, but chime in as we have the conversation. Right now, we're talking about kind of our thoughts and ideas for events in 2026. So we've kind of just gone through the list, added a couple to our list of options. So having said that, again, I think each event, it depends on our interest and our ability, honestly, to participate in what makes sense for us and the level of participation. So again, starting with the Unity event, that's like an all-in, right? It's our event. We're all in, kind of all of us in some way or another participating in the planning organization, carrying that out. We'll have a subcommittee meeting about that specific event and start talking about the planning and timing. As a matter of fact, we should probably put that on our community conversations agenda for our next meeting when we do talk, Megan.
Okay.
Just to kind of start picking dates and stuff like that as it maps out with our other events. Because we've gone back and forth. I think one year we did it in June, and a couple years we did it in September. So we've gone back and forth with the dates on that. So that's that one. I don't know if we need to talk further about that one, but any thoughts or concerns? And
Well, so aligned to, and we'll talk about our priorities or goals for the year in just a minute, but aligned to that, it's not just a presence in coordinating at these events. So we talked a lot about what does it mean to have a presence and what are we looking to get out of it? So what is our objective as a commission being involved with each of these events? And we want to ensure that each of them has an element of learning, education, and or engagement. So not necessarily all three of those things, but in some way, the influence that we're bringing is around that. In addition to the connection that we'll make with other community organizations, helping to communicate and spread the word and facilitate the successful event. Those are critical to us as we move forward so that we can assure each of those events is having a marked difference for the participants in a way that we feel is meaningful.
that's
Anything to add on
yeah,
that?
please.
Because
Yeah,
I'm not
please.
the only one
Yeah,
who-
no, please. And I think it's great because I think we do, and Megan has helped us do this, really think about why we're at a particular event, what our role is, right? And thinking about, I love those words. I mean, there's some component potentially of learning, engagement with the community, connection to the community. I think it was education and learning. So, thinking about our Unity event, we really expanded that. That started off as having conversations with our neighbors. That's what that event really started off with, that Unity event. It used to be called the Walk a Mile in My Shoes event.
Right.
And the idea was to get to know your neighbor, walk a mile or a minute or 20 steps in their shoes and get to know them a little bit, have conversations with your neighbors. And that was the original intent. And now we kind of broadened that to be a little more engaging, sharing, connections. We did some artwork, some community artwork last year and did this banner. So we kind of expanded that to include some of these different pieces. So I think it's helpful for us to think about that, other than just being a tabling event where we have a table and a presence and say, here we are, we're the commission, come talk to us, right? What do we do to engage with the community a little bit more? We've had different things over the time, and just throwing these things out there, we had literally a door that we brought to a couple events, like it was just a door like this that we took off, and I think somebody bought it at like Home Depot or something. And we had the door, and we would write on it. We'd invite the community to write on it. We did this with a big storyboard one time too. Just write on it, what does inclusion mean to you, right? Or what does equity or equality mean to you? So it was a way to engage with the community around our mission, right?
And we did, sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were.
That's okay.
So we did use the words from those too, when we created the Unity Statement. So those actually while it was engaging in that moment, it was also something that informed the language that we pulled into the Unity Statement that we now have for the town.
Okay, that was my question. I know I've only been on for, a year or half a year. Do we have, this might be an antique phrase, but a mission statement or, something akin to that, you mentioned the unity statement.
Our unity statement.
So for our commission, do we have a mission statement, or is that something we need to draft up or want to draft up? So we know, people know what we're about.
Yeah, it's something we've been working on in our subcommittee, and yeah, we'll make sure we get that to our new commissioners for sure, and as we move along in this process. But yes, it is something that we need both our mission statement, so to speak, and you know, Megan comes from kind of that corporate background with that mission statement sort of idea is central to that work. But no, and it does. It helps guide
Our
us.
touchstone is our unity statement.
right.
And
Our
then
unity statement.
we did put some commitments around the unity statement of how we'll
yeah.
fulfill on that. So that's a little bit of our mission statement.
Yeah,
Not a
it's just
succinct,
a-
like, one sentence, but
Just
yeah.
a question.
Yeah,
you-
no, absolutely.
Do you have our unity statement handy in front of you? Because I did not bring my notes tonight, so I don't have it.
I will
Or
look to
does anyone have it handy? Because I came from Hartford and didn't have all my stuff with me
I
tonight.
have a
so.
lot of notes.
Okay,
but
that's okay,
I-
that's okay. I was just gonna have
in
someone
different
read it if they
ways,
had it
so,
in front of them, but
yeah.
I don't have it. It's down on the wall downstairs in the community center, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Because what we did is we adopted that as a commission. We forwarded that to town council. They kind of formally adopted it as our unity statement. And then it's posted on the wall on a little sign down in the hallway at the
So
community center.
I
so.
can read, it may have one or two
Oh,
words
no,
that
the
were
words, okay,
slightly
give it a shot,
different.
give it a shot.
But it's
Hopefully this is the accurate version.
Primarily this statement.
Yeah.
The town of Rocky Hill fosters a community culture that values unity and fairness over divisiveness and injustice, cultivates, supports, and celebrates diversity, prioritizes equity and acceptance, and proactively seeks opportunities to be inclusive and welcoming. We commit to progress over time as we acknowledge our past, address our present, and position Rocky Hill to create a future with an equitable quality of life for all. So we call that our For All unity statement. So like the banner that's here, we pull through For All with the intention of that statement is really what's behind when we say Rocky Hill for All.
Thank you, you did have it.
I did have
And
it,
good
and it was
question.
correct,
That was correct,
by the
because
way.
I know, because that last language in that last sentence is what we had edited, so I think that is the correct version. Dana, please.
As you do that work, I would encourage you to look at your governing ordinance, because I recall that some of the very tenets that are named in that ordinance, I think you're capturing in the work that you do. So as you do meet to come up with your future objectives, et cetera, it's a very broad ordinance, but yet it isn't. It still is narrowly tailored to really get to the heart of what I think the spirit of the commission is about. And I would ask that you take a look at that. I think it would be an inspiration to look back and see what was put in place back in 2019. A bipartisan, unanimous group of people from all sides of the aisles really got together and did a phenomenal job of putting together a governing ordinance that's actually modeled by other similar commissions around the state.
Thank you, Dana, for that. And Commissioner Kittle had it handy, right in his notebook. So
Kidding.
and passed it down to me. So
Thank you.
in chapter 24, go ahead, Ms. Kittle.
That, if you will, clearly outlines your mission.
There you go. So and we did use this as sort of one of our guideposts for the development of our unity statement, et cetera. So thank you for that, and we will make sure we keep that in mind. So yeah, and it is important for the public to know that this is not us commissioners kind of going about our business in a direction of our own. This is the guidance of I always get the words wrong.
Your legislators.
Statute, but not what's the word?
The ordinance.
Ordinance, right?
Yeah.
The ordinance,
Yeah.
town ordinance, chapter
Yeah.
24 of the town ordinance. Inclusion and Innovation Commission. So. Yeah, it gives a very detailed description of the creation, our duties and purposes of the commission. Again, so stuff about membership, et cetera. So,
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Kill. Let's see. So we sort of went a little astray, but just going back to our events, just thinking about the calendar events. So Unity event is one of those, right? So the others that we're thinking about, we'll talk a little bit about. And I'm just going to go in the order I have them on my paper. Is the Pride. We have Rocky Hill Pride, pulling in Newington Pride, Middletown Pride. So again, thinking about what's our involvement. The other thing I want to think about too is kind of who a point person or two is for each of these events or each of these things, right? So it's helpful to have, again, the Unity event is sort of a collaborative one for kind of all of us because it's our event and we all participate and plan it and et cetera. But for these other ones, it's been helpful in the past couple of years to have kind of a point person for an event. So if it's an event that you have, particular interest in or particular knowledge about or particular reason to really want to sort of lead that, please speak up. So Rocky Hill, again, I'll talk about the Pride in general events. So thoughts on that?
I'd like to be involved again with the Rocky Hill Pride and the Middletown Pride. One of the things that we did last year around LGBTQ Pride was in planning the Middletown Pride Parade and our presence there, we brought material, so rainbow fans, rainbow leis, and we had some engagement at the Pride event with friendship bracelets and pulled through in that way. So it was an invitation for our residents to come attend and be part of the parade and some awareness around that and then engagement in the event.
And we walked with the banner, right, with the Rocky Hill banner. So we had some shout outs from the crowd. The Rocky Hill banner.
And that was impressive. I mean, I think that was a point of pride for people who were at the Middletown Parade. It may not have known that we had a presence, and then we're excited to see us there. We used those fans and leis to also engage with the crowd, so we made some connection there. And I think it's part of building the brand for Rocky Hill and the type of town that says, we really truly are for all.
Same. Pride.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And again, with each of these, this is a brief conversation now. This is not to get into super detail about it. It's a brief conversation. These will all be fleshed out in our subcommittee work and stuff like that. So the other one was Juneteenth. Again, this was an event. Well, let me just back up to the Pride. So there's a couple aspects of Pride. Pride was mainly planned by our Health and Human Services, and I always get the name wrong, but that's the general gist of Rocky Hill Health and Human Services here in Rocky Hill, and we participated in it. So I think, Megan and Dea and others can engage with them and connect with them on that. Juneteenth is an event that's sort of quasi-town supported, I'll say, not necessarily town sponsored, sort of town supported, and maybe it's the right way to say it. So I believe Ralph was the one that kind of was part of that planning committee. I know, a number of us attended the event, and it was more on the planning side of it, I think, on that one, that we really participated. It wasn't a tabling event, it wasn't that sort of thing, but I think, again, as we participate as a member, and we'll check with Ralph if she wants to continue, and others, obviously, if they're interested, please speak up, but we can keep those things in mind of, again, learning, engagement. How do we engage the community in that?
Our friendship bracelets carried over from Pride into our Juneteenth event too. So we had that and then the rocks that people were decorating.
Painting the rocks. That's right. That's right. Painting the rocks and doing the bracelets. I remember that. Any thoughts on Juneteenth at all?
I also know that Jaden has requested and received support for continuing to have the town of Rocky Hill have that as one of their featured events. So it will be going forward. So our involvement would be phenomenal.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And just for clarification, so Jaden is a former Rocky Hill high school student who's graduated, gone on to college, and kind of spearheaded that event and really is the one that kind of got that going and got that started with the support of a number of people in town, our former mayor and some others that really kind of jumped all in with him and got that thing going. And I believe this was the second year of the event. Past year, right? 2025 was the second. Right, so this will be the third year of the event, right? And my memory sometimes lapses, but so no, that's great. That's great to hear. Thank you for that update on Jaden. Again, speak up on any of these. So the next one on my list is a Diwali event. I, for one, had helped out a bit on the planning and facilitating that event last year. Prem, who's not here tonight, was a key part of that. And there's a large group or a number of people that were involved in the planning of that. But I was the kind of representative from the commission that assisted with that. There's conversations starting already. That event last year was held in October. I believe it was October. So we're talking about that. We're going to be starting to meet soon on that event and talk some of the details. But certainly chime in if it's an area that you want to participate in. That was quite a successful event. too big to fit in our community center. So we're talking about how do we invite more people and more of the community to be able to participate and kind of even make it bigger and better, so to speak. It was an amazing event last year for those that got a chance to go. Any questions or thoughts on that one, or how we might engage in that one?
I'd be
Please.
quite interested.
Oh, yeah,
to
in the
learn
Diwali
about
event?
that, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And just for clarification, or just to make sure that you lean forward and talk in the mic, just for our folks that might not hear on TV, it ends up getting recorded and put on TV and stuff.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's great. I'll put your name down for
One
that.
quick add on that.
Yeah,
too.
please.
So I wasn't able to attend this past year, but I did the previous year. It's very informative, like, talk about elements of education, engagement, fun, food. It was an amazing event, and I would love to have us help figure out how this year we can have it be not necessarily bigger, right? Because it is quite large and that tends to be a challenge, but more inclusive of other people who are outside of the community that already celebrates Diwali.
Yeah.
Or is already aware of Diwali. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see more diversity in the participants in ways in which people who don't celebrate Diwali can be part of that celebration.
Yes.
So being creative with what that might look like, that carries through in meaningful ways.
Right.
Like celebration of lights, or, the amazing sand drawings, things like that, where our community can enjoy and appreciate those in coming days, even beyond one day of celebration.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, again, being part of that event last few years, amazing educational event, hugely educational. I knew, I'll go back a few years. When I first attended the event, I didn't know much about Diwali. I know a heck of a lot now. So they have a whole group that comes in and has these presentation boards. Last year was something new, actually. They have the performers. I say obviously, but they have dancers and musicians, and it's engaging, it's entertaining, but it's also very educational. So yeah, it's a great event, and I think a great model for thinking about the things that we want to kind of make sure are part of some of these other events, right? So it's actually kind of a nice model that we can say, hey, how can we learn from some of the things that were done well there and carry those into some of the other events that we have happening here in Rocky Hill. So those are the ones that we kind of had mainly participated in the last few years. The other ones that we've talked about, obviously have a vested interest in some sort of disability awareness type of an event, something I've been thinking about probably for 10 years now in Rocky Hill, and still haven't seemed to get it over the hurdle. But that's one thought. The 250 birthday too, I think we really need to make sure we're in some way part of that, as our commission, in connecting with Alain Germain. Again, that's the 250th celebration of the United States here in 2026, right? And then the Witness Stone Project's the other one, which we just got to connect with Ed on that, because I don't know the extent what that looks like for us to be involved.
Correct, and
But-
if there's events
yeah.
that are planned for the year. I
Yeah,
actually
no.
thought of something else that I didn't have
Please.
in my notes, I apologize.
Please.
So the work that the Board of Ed is doing in the town with the secondary committee on, is it the Voice Committee?
It is, that's the name of the committee, yes.
Name of the committee. I think there's some opportunity for us to connect with how the board and district are moving forward with their efforts to bring it to the greater community. And I know there is a desire from some members of the board in moving that forward, but I'm not sure what that commitment looks like at this point, but I do want to voice and share publicly that is something that we've discussed in the committee meetings as we've been talking about the year, and obviously have some interest in from an inclusion perspective for the town.
That's great, thank you. And I'll just quickly, VOICE is the name of the committee. It stands for Values of Inclusion, Civility, and Equity, I believe is the acronym. So it's VOICE as an acronym. And it also is, we want to hear your voice. So it's kind of serves a couple purposes. So thank you for that. We'll add that to the list. So again, on any of these, please, reach out to Megan and I, speak up, and we want to, get different of us participating in all different aspects of these events and others. So And for the public, if there's other events that you feel it makes sense and it matches up with our work and our unity statement and our mission statement, then please reach out and let us know. All right, if we have nothing else on that, I will move on to item B on new business, which is review our commission commitments and discuss our goals for 2026. Turning over to Commissioner Megan McNamara.
So our commitments that came out of our unity statement in 2025, we had several commitments. So I'll just go ahead and read through what we had talked about at that point. Enabling, empowering, so specifically we commit to enabling, empowering, and including all, listening deeply and elevating voices and lived experiences that reflect the full diversity of our community, creating opportunities for dialogue, connection, and understanding, including engaging in difficult and uncomfortable conversations, promoting activities and events that address bias, advance equity and inclusion, and celebrate diversity, and supporting the execution of ideas that foster inclusion, unity, visibility, and a sense of belonging across Rocky Hill. And these commitments anchor our strategic goals and guide how we work, not just what we do. So with that in mind, we wanted to be more intentional about what that means for us in 2026 as a commission and how we'll move that forward. So we've been talking about priorities or goals for the year and have narrowed those down to kind of summarized in 3 specific areas. The first we already touched on briefly with learning, connection, and engagement. So building trust and understanding through two-way engagement with residents, organizations, and civic teams, especially voices and experiences that have been underrepresented. So that's our participation in these events and activities throughout the town in potentially other ways. The second is structure, momentum, and sustainability. It's our goal to really create a commission that, as we said, is able to move forward regardless of the commissioners that are in the seats. That we have momentum and we build a strong momentum that can carry forward for years to come. So we're establishing, and this is really kind of working on the work that we've been doing since it's been established, right? But very deliberately ensuring we have clear governance norms and practices for how we operate as a commission so that our impact endures across changing membership and leadership and enables continuity, accountability, and an effective partnership with the town and staff. The third is really defining Rocky Hill for all, but in practice. So how does that start to carry through? So we have this banner that we created at our town unity event, which included members of our community. So this was actually something that was painted from participants and actually created through the community. We also have the lawn signs where we have the Rocky Hill for All, where individuals decorated their own lawn sign, and hopefully members of our community have seen those around town. We want more of that, so establishing a brand for Rocky Hill with Rocky Hill for All that really leads with that inclusive statement, and figuring out what that looks like in a very reasonable way. So very budget conscious, budget friendly, but also a way that helps get the word out there. I think having some swag and some material that says Rocky Hill for our residents would be amazing, and Rocky Hill for All would help carry through that message. So those are the 3 that we've talked about in our community conversations. So as we talked earlier, those committee meetings are where we're doing some of the nuts and bolts of the work to figure out how we're moving things forward, so that when we come to these meetings and we're speaking more publicly, we really have that structured and accountable and, again, intentional. That's our key word for the year, is intentional. So not everyone was available for those committee meetings, so I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to discuss those 3 goals before we start to move forward on that any further.
That's great. Thank you so much, Megan. And yes, we'll kind of open the floor for comments, questions, thoughts, reflections, observations on these 3 sort of goals. I see us maybe a little conversation tonight, a little time to reflect on them, after we meet tonight, and as you go home and sleep on it, sort of thing, and think about those things, and then maybe at our February meeting, we can actually kind of vote on them and adopt them, so to speak, sort of formally and officially adopt them into the record for our goals for 2026. In the same time, we're already working on them, sort of anyway. But any thoughts? I mean, comments, questions, thoughts?
I guess my comment with defining Rocky Hill for all, I'm sitting here thinking there's a lot of things that go into that, so how can we create a Rocky Hill for all like statement or billboard or something that includes everything, because that's such a hard thing to do, and you don't want to leave anything out, especially with what we're doing for the commission,
It's a great point. And actually, I think about some different artwork I've seen over the past, in the past, or different signs or things that you try to include every group and you can't, so you always miss someone, right? So as soon as you try to include, so our signs are very simple. It's Rocky Hill for all, right? And it just says that. And actually, we created them in block lettering, outline blank, so you could color it and fill it in however you want. So what does Rocky Hill for all mean to you? Right. So you individually can kind of do that. So, but I appreciate that thought, because I think it's important that all means all. Like that's kind of why we came up with that phrase. It means whatever it means. I mean, everyone in the community, every resident of 20,000 plus residents of the Rocky Hill. But no, it's important to not get sidetracked with like these religious dominations, these cultural groups, these races. It's just all thoughts, reflections. So yeah, I think that one, like defining that, is sort of easy, but it's sort of what's it like in practice, to your point, Megan, and what does that look like? Do we have things we can hand out? And actually, as you were saying, the swag idea, and we're, as we were walking down the street in Middletown last Pride event, or if we go to Newington or other spaces, or any event we go to, it's like, it's just that message, right? It's that constant message. It's a little bracelet or it's something, right, that says that. I think is pretty cool. Again, the lawn signs. The lawn signs started, I think, with the idea. I remember seeing one of the civic groups has similar signs that don't have this message, have a different message, but be kind. I think it was a be kind. It was like one of the civic groups in the area has be kind as their message, and I was like, huh. So it always, every time I see it, I think of that group. So like our goal is to kind of have that message spread around Rocky Hill to the point maybe it's on our sign in. That digital sign that's out here, right, and at the corner, and things like that. So, any other thoughts on that?
Not at this time.
Rocky Hill for all.
And Sarah, we do have a unity statement, which is what actually fed into where the for all came from. So we actually call it our for all statement. So I think we read it just before you stepped in. So we'll make sure that you have that. And it's hanging downstairs in the community center as well.
Great.
Awesome, thank you. And again, I think the goals speak nicely, the learning, connection, engagement, to keeping that in mind as we do our work, whatever that work looks like, whatever our role is. If our role is only on a planning committee and to that level, then we're trying to insert those things, right, into the event to the extent we can. To make sure that we're including those things, because I think they're great. And I love the second one. I think is important. I'm the sole remaining initial member of the commission from when it was formed 5 years ago, and we're strong. So I'm really excited about the fact that it's other than me, a whole new commission from when we started, and we have this kind of rotating membership, which has been great. And we continue to have people like Sarah and others continue to. Join us. So that's great, and it helps with the momentum and helps with kind of the continuity. So I think that's important. So thank you. Yeah. So I think one of the things. So sleep on these things. Think about them. We can discuss them again at our next meeting and kind of sort of officially adopt them. I think would make sense at our next meeting.
I think we can put some more language around them to formalize them as statements.
Okay.
So rather than
a few words.
Bit of we can work on that.
Awesome, thank you. And all right, anything else on that item? So item C, my eyes are a little fuzzy. 8, I think it's 8. 8C, discuss process to review and consider updates to commission bylaws. So this will be very brief. Our bylaws were formed and voted on and adopted when we formed our commission 5 years ago or so. And so the idea or the thought came up to maybe take a peek at them, because we've been 5 years in the making here, and we've kind of still got this momentum going. We want to make sure that they make sense for us. So I think just quickly, I'm going to point to Dana, if you could give us kind of a brief summary of what that process would look like, and we'll take it from there. Dana.
Absolutely, and indeed it will be brief. It's not all that complicated, at least in terms of explanation. I would recommend that a small group of commissioners get together, form a committee, and perhaps even solicit information from others, other external and internal stakeholders, as to what you might think you'd like to revisit in terms of what we currently have in the bylaws, come up with a set of recommendations that the commission ultimately considers as a commission, as a body. You all would accept that as a set of recommendations, and then we would have to vet that through the town manager's office and ultimately the town council.
Thank you for that. And again, this is sort of in the same way as the goals for 2026, sort of like the first reading, the first mention of it. So with the goals, we'll discuss that again with this process for the bylaws. I think what will happen is I'm able to form an ad hoc committee. So I am thusly forming an ad hoc committee, or starting an ad hoc committee. If you're interested in joining that ad hoc bylaw committee, for some it's very exciting and interesting. For others, it might not be so exciting and interesting, but please let me know. You can do so now, and I see Dea waving her hand.
I'm interested.
And I figured Megan would be, and anyone else who want to take part in that group. And don't feel pressured because I'm looking at you that you need to join this thing. We have 3 other commissioners who are not here tonight. So, but anyway, if anyone's interested in that, let me know. And then again, we'll look for some external members. I appreciate that. Will, you were leaning forward like you had something.
You said don't be afraid to look at you, so.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, don't be afraid to look at me, but you don't have to speak up necessarily. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't feel obligated to say your name on that. But anyway, so that's great, and we'll have that group we'll get that group started and start looking at our bylaws. And at first I thought it was, getting a little excited. We have some public joining us today in the back of the room, but it turns out there's another meeting happening, probably at 6:30. Maybe it's even earlier, and we're honing in on their time. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, they're right on time for public
thank you
comments.
anyway for being here in our meeting space, so to speak. All right, so next on the agenda, we have report from Commission Chair. So I don't have too much to say that I haven't said already, other than one thing we want to do soon, and this I'll give all due credit to Dana for coming up with this idea, is to have a short bio for each of us on our commission website. So what I ask of each of you is if you could write a short paragraph, not a 2-page, thing, not a dissertation, not a thesis, like a paragraph of bio of who you are, and sort of as it relates to our commission work too, right? Like, you don't need to give us your full professional background in history and family history, but as it relates to our commission work and it makes sense, a short bio would be great. And if you could kind of draft that, and I'll make sure the rest of the commissioners that are not here tonight get this message, and forward that along to myself and Megan and Dana, would be great. And then we'll kind of make sure that they're edited appropriately for proper English and proper writing so they look good. And there's, and then we'll get those posted. So any other thoughts or comments about that, Dana?
Not at all. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Is it just a bio, no picture, or would you like a headshot as well?
I'll let you guys tell me as a group what
Okay.
you would like to do.
Wow, pictures.
I stopped at bio.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it might be nice to be recognizable in the community for people who are interested,
Good thought.
or not.
Good thought. I'm on camera right now. I'm on TV, so
Right.
yeah, we'll take that.
discuss.
We'll discuss that and see. 'Cause I don't want to put anybody on the spot if they're not comfortable with it.
Take it under advisement.
Yeah, we'll take it under advisement. Good thought.
Understood.
Good
Like
thought.
that. Good.
Good. Take it under advisement. Thank you. All right. Anything? Any questions for me as the chair? Any thoughts? Any comments?
Staying on as chair.
I'm staying on right now as chair, yes, so good question. So I did fulfill my 5-year term as a commissioner. I have, re-upped for 3 years as a commissioner. Who knows if I'll make it that long for 3 more years. Not that I'm going anywhere physically out of this world, but just, my other obligations in my life. But always looking for someone new to take on. I know, Megan's been great as vice chair. So if anyone's interested in moving into a, leadership position on the executive board, please speak up and let us know. Again, so I can remain on the commission as a commissioner also and step down as chair at some point. So I do see that happening in 2026. And actually, I did bring that up. I'll finish my commission chair report I did present briefly to the town council on the 20th and kind of that's one of the things in the works for this year is some kind of transition of leadership. So it's definitely in the works for this year. Thank you for bringing that up. It's a good question. Thoughts? Questions? Queries? Okay, we do public comment at the end of our meeting. So, since we have all this wonderful public, many of whom I know and can call by name, this portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public who are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment but cannot attend this meeting should email their written comments to, and this is a long email address, Commission Inclusion Innovation, all smushed together, at rockyhillct.gov. Do we have anybody here present? And I see someone standing up and walking forward. Very nice. And don't be shy, the rest of you. And please state your name and address for the
Zach
record.
Van Luling, 18 Boulder Drive. I also serve on the town council. A lot of joking going on, but I did want to come up here and say I'm really appreciative of what this commission is about and what you guys are setting out to do. And I want you to know that, at least from my perspective, I'm pretty sure you've got a lot of us there that are eager to hear what you have to say to us at the town council and offer us as ideas. Because we would absolutely love to take this Rocky Hill for All thing, for instance, and run with it. I love swag. I love the idea of the little store in the senior center also having a few T-shirts and Rocky Hill gear. That'd be pretty cool. And that's all window dressing. But you talked about how difficult it is to identify all the communities that this matters to. It is everybody in town, and though that isn't a reflection of the entire globe, it's pretty darn close. So I love what we have here. I think you run with that, and I think the kind of make your own idea works really well too. I could see T-shirts where it's white on the lettering, but it comes with a kit to go and color it. That'd be kind of cool. Now I'm just throwing these things out there, but Tom, thank you for your service to this for so long. I do look forward to seeing what new leadership will come, and really come to us with ideas. Excited for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? No one else can see you on camera, so I won't call you by name out there. All right, thank you very much. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Seconded by Dea, and 6:19, meeting is adjourned. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.